Good evening. Welcome to the May meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Gallardo, will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Ms. Hannah?
Here.
Mr. Layton?
Here.
Ms. Kane?
Here.
Mr. Kiziak?
Here.
Also in attendance is the interim township manager, Ms. Coles, township solicitor, Mr. Esposito, and township engineer, Mr. Kistler.
Bless you. Thank you. Upcoming meetings and events. Our next Board of Supervisors meeting will be Monday, June 8th at 7 p.m. Next Board of Supervisors meeting, Monday, June 8th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Police Memorial Day in Bucks County will be held on Monday, May 18th. A ceremony honoring Detective Chris Jones will be held at 12 noon here at the Municipal Center. Bucks County Police Memorial Day will be Monday, May 18th, 2026. Middletown Township Memorial Ceremony honoring Detective Christopher Jones at the Municipal Center starting at 12 p.m. Special items and announcements. We have the swearing in of Officer James Marotti. I'd like to invite Chief Bartarillo to come forward to introduce our new officer, James Marotti.
Thank you. Good evening, Ms. Hannah, fellow board members. So we're here tonight to do the ceremonial swearing in for Officer James Marotti. Before I have him go up onto the stage for the swearing in, I will read a brief biography on Officer Marotti. Officer James Marotti was born and raised in Bucks County, where he still resides with his wife and son. A graduate of Conwell Egan Catholic High School, he went on to earn a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Holy Family University. Officer Marotti is a graduate of the Philadelphia Police Academy and brings 8 years of experience as a police officer in Bucks County to our department. During his career, he has earned numerous certifications, most notably as an accident reconstructionist and a commercial motor vehicle inspector. Having always aspired to a career in law enforcement, Officer Marotti looks forward to serving our great community with the Middletown Township Police Department. I just want to note that Jim also followed in the footsteps of his father, who is a retired officer from Falls Township, and I know Jim's dad is here with us tonight for this swearing in, so welcome. And a lot of Jim's family is here as well. So I'm going to have Officer Marotti go up on the stage, and if you want to bring a family member up to hold the Bible, you're welcome to. Yeah.
Bible. Yeah, do you have one? Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, come right up front. Do you have any other family that you'd like to come up? Okay. All right, we're just waiting for a Bible. Did you bring one or?
I did not.
No? Okay. It's okay. Thank you. Chief has one. No, thank you. Okay, place your right hand on the Bible. Could you repeat after me? I state your name.
I, James Moretti,
Solemnly swear to support,
solemnly swear to support,
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States,
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the ordinances of Middletown Township with duty,
and the ordinances of Middletown Township with duty,
honor, and fidelity
honor, and fidelity
as a Middletown Township police officer.
as a Middletown Township police officer.
Congratulations. Again, thank you so much. We're going to stay for pictures, okay? Okay. You guys can come out for a picture? I'm going to give that to you, and we're going to do some pictures. I'm going to put the Bible on the side here. Thank you. We'll just take a 2 or 3 minute break. If you were here to celebrate the signing in of Officer Moretti, you may leave at this time if you'd like.
Until we finish with the commendation presentation, which is a few more items away. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have a Falls Township plaque presentation. Could you come to the podium? Thank you. A representative of Falls Township has asked to make a presentation to the Board of Supervisors. I'd like to invite all of them to come to the podium.
Hi there. Good evening. My name is Erin Mullen. I'm the Vice Chair of the Falls Township Board of Supervisors. I'm here tonight with our manager, John Shepard. And we are here tonight on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, our staff, our residents, to sincerely thank you for your generosity and partnership over the past 2.5 years. While our municipal building was being renovated, you welcomed us without hesitation, and it allowed us to serve our residents uninterrupted. And that was after delay, after delay, after delay, and I'm sure that wasn't always the most convenient thing for you, your staff, or your residents. This plaque is a small token of our appreciation for an incredible kindness that really meant a lot to our township. So we just wanted to say thank you for being wonderful partners and neighbors and supporting a fellow local government. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Next up, we have Supervisor Guardo reading the National Public Works Week proclamation.
Thank you. This is a proclamation recognizing the Department of Public Works Week in Middletown Township. Whereas public works infrastructure is above, below, and all around us, we're able to have clean water, safe streets, efficient traffic, and livable communities because of public works. And whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance to our sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Middletown Township. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our roads, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the residents of Middletown Township to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs. And now, therefore, do we, the Middletown Township Board of Supervisors, hereby proclaim this week of May 17th through May 23rd, 2026, as National Public Works Week, as designated by the American Public Works Association.
Thank you. At this time, we have Police Department commendations. Chief Barbarilla, will you please come back to make your presentation?
Sure will. Good evening once again, and we are going to do some commendations tonight. So first I'm going to call up Officer Larry Hardy and K-9 Blue, Officer Kevin Eckenrode and K-9 Jax. I know you got to keep your distance, guys, so yeah. So tonight, I want to recognize two of our officers and their K-9 partners for their outstanding work during a recent multi-day federal law enforcement operation conducted here in Middletown Township and in Newtown Township 2 months ago. On March 8th through March 10th, members of our department assisted the FBI in the execution of multiple court-authorized search warrants as part of a highly coordinated and sensitive investigation. Officer Kevin Eckenrode and K-9 Jax, along with Officer Larry Hardy and K-9 Blue, were deployed in specialized support roles during these operations. Their responsibilities required a high level of professionalism, precision, and discipline. They performed exceptionally under those conditions. Their efforts contributed directly to the safe and efficient completion of these operations while helping to ensure there was minimal disruption to our community. This type of work often happens behind the scenes, but it is critical to the success of complex investigations and to maintaining public safety. Their actions reflect great credit upon themselves, their K-9 partners, and the entire Middletown Township Police Department. And I will say, whenever the FBI asked either of these officers and their K-9 partners for assistance, they didn't hesitate. And it was amazing to see the collaboration and partnership. They did an outstanding job. So I'm going to read each of their commendations, starting first with Officer Larry Hardy and K-9 Blue. In recognition of your outstanding law enforcement service, you are hereby commended for the following actions. On March 8th, 9th, and 10th, 2026, you responded and provided critical assistance during a multi-day law enforcement operation conducted in Middletown Township and Newtown Township in support of the FBI. During this operation, you and your K-9 partner were deployed in a specialized capacity to assist federal authorities in the execution of court-authorized search warrants at multiple locations. Your professionalism, preparedness, and operational effectiveness contributed to the safe and successful completion of these coordinated efforts. Throughout the operation, you performed your duties under demanding and highly sensitive conditions, demonstrating sound judgment, discipline, and a commitment to public safety. Your actions helped ensure the operation was conducted safely and efficiently while maintaining the highest standards of law enforcement. So your performance reflects great credit upon yourself, your K-9 partner, the entire Middletown Township Police Department. Notation of this commendation will be placed, your personnel file will become part of your permanent record. Congratulations, Officer Hardy and K-9 Blue. All right, next is Officer Kevin Eckenrode and K-9 Jax. In recognition of your outstanding law enforcement service, you are hereby commended for the following actions. On March 8th and 9th, 2026, you responded and provided valuable assistance during a coordinated law enforcement operation conducted in Middletown Township and Newtown Township in support of the FBI. During this operation, you and your canine partner were deployed in a specialized capacity to assist federal authorities with the execution of court-authorized search warrants. Your attentiveness, professionalism, and effective use of your canine partner contributed to the safe and orderly completion of these operations. You carried out your responsibilities under demanding and sensitive conditions with discipline and sound judgment. Your efforts helped ensure that the operation was conducted safely, efficiently, and with minimal disruption to the community. Your actions reflect great credit upon yourself, your canine partner, and the entire Middletown Township Police Department, and are in keeping with the highest standards of law enforcement. Notation of this commendation, Officer Eckenrode, will be placed in your personnel file, will become part of your permanent record. Outstanding work. Congratulations. So, you know what? We'll wait. We'll do the final commendation, then we can do the pictures. Is that okay? All right. All right, and finally, this is going to be a unit citation for our police department as part of a regional SWAT response. So if I can have Lieutenant Zach Brocious, Detectives John Beck and Ryan Morrison, and Officers Josh Andrews, Adam Bailey, Joe Heller, and Melissa Robinson come forward. So this unit citation is recognizing members of the Middletown Township Police Department who serve on the South Central Emergency Response Team and responded to assist Northampton Township during a critical incident on January 26, 2026. What began as a well-being check quickly escalated into a dangerous and prolonged barricaded subject situation involving an armed individual. Our officers responded as part of CERT to support that operation alongside our regional partners from several neighboring police departments. Over the course of several hours, under extremely cold conditions, our personnel, including tactical operators, a crisis negotiator, and a UAS operator, played a key role in containing the situation, gathering intelligence, and supporting a coordinated resolution. Despite the seriousness of the incident, the tragic circumstances that were later discovered, our officers demonstrated exceptional professionalism, discipline, and restraint throughout. Their actions helped ensure that the subject was taken into custody safely without further harm to law enforcement or the community. Just as importantly, they represented the Middletown Township Police Department with the highest standards of conduct while operating in another jurisdiction as part of a unified regional team. It is for these reasons I want to formally recognize our personnel assigned to the South Central Emergency Response Team with this unit citation. They also each have individual certificates as well for their professionalism and restraint and commitment to public safety. So, Zach, since you're the highest ranking officer here, I'm going to present this to you. This says presented to Lieutenant Zachary Brocious, Detective John Beck, Detective Ryan Morrison, Officer Joshua Andrews, Officer Adam Bailey, Officer Joseph Heller, Officer Melissa Robinson, for your exceptional professionalism, courage, and dedication in responding to the homicide barricaded subject incident in Northampton Township on January 26, 2026, as part of the Bucks County South Central Emergency Response Team. Outstanding work by all of you. So, Zach, here you go. And I did forget, Kevin and Larry, I also have plaques for you guys, so I'll get them to you. Actually, let me give them to you now so you can take your photos. That's all I have, Ms. Hannah. If I know the officers want to get photos with the board, if that's
Yeah,
that's
if they could
possible.
come on
Okay.
up, sure.
I think the canines are going to go one at a time first, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Who's going first? Good. Good. Great job. Joe, great job. Zach, Josh, John. Okay. Thank you, Miss Hannah.
Thank you. Just take a minute for people to rearrange themselves. Next up on the agenda, we have public agenda items. Or public comment, I'm so sorry.
No,
Public comment, non-agenda items.
I probably threw you off by standing here right now. I just want to take some time to speak on the behalf of many that work on for the township. From what I can tell and hearing, there's frustration amongst some in the community when it comes to the lack of details on how the previous manager was terminated from the position. I can understand that frustration because it may have appeared from left field from those outside of these walls and out there in the community. I am not going to get into details because there are people, a significant number, that were very, very negatively affected during the brief time the previous manager held the position. I am not going to have anyone relive those experiences. I can tell you that what has always been for me an amazing work culture filled with many dedicated people that take great pride in their role in this administration, many of which are actual residents of this township, was completely ruined. I really did think there was a point of no return. And there were people targeted, unfairly treated, and downright harassed for, from my eyes, absolutely no justifiable reason. It affected morale to an abysmal point. There are people that were highly respected and excellent representatives to the community that were part of the workforce that are no longer working for Middletown. I've never seen anything like it anywhere else I worked in such a short span of time. I think that if anyone really wants to understand as much as possible what some of the issues may have been, then look at the job announcement for trying to recruit a new manager, especially the words in bold print. They speak volumes. All I can tell anyone in the community is that it may have only been in these walls at the time the manager was let go, but it would have eventually gone beyond these walls into the community if it had continued. The issues would have absolutely had negative effects to the community as a whole. Things would have gotten worse, and you, the board, stepped in at the right time and did the right thing. I am speaking for many of the staff that the high morale is back. People feel like they are again working in a very stable environment. The great work culture is restored, and we are very appreciative for you having the township staffs back and making a very tough decision that has resulted in having negative criticisms. Thank you very much, and we are very confident we will thrive under the new manager and their leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Any other public comment, non-agenda items at this time? Please come on up.
Good evening, Sheldon Post, Red Rose Gate. Actually just took away half my thunder, I think. I had two things I wanted to comment on tonight, both pertaining to last month's meeting, and one of them was just that. I know that you have a policy to not speak on personnel matters, but our only alternative then is to listen to what we hear around the community, read on Facebook, which is never very reliable, hear from other township employees and things like that, people that we know. And it's unfortunate that we have to kind of formulate our own ideas then as to what did or did not take place and so on and so forth. Much of what I was going to say, I think, was just pretty much spoken, so I won't reiterate and go back through with all that again. But I do think that since, the residents elect supervisors to represent us, to make decisions for us, to spend our money, I think in a case like this, we have a kind of a right to know situation, what happened. We have a right to know how much money is going to be expended in settlements or whatever you might want to call them. I don't know if you can or will, ever will or whatever, but I just think that there's quite a big faction of people who would like to know something official as opposed to just what we hear on the street. That said, the other thing I wanted to deal with was something that is related to something I've brought up a number of times at this microphone, and it involves agendas. There were two things on last month's agenda that there were comments made by the speakers up here in representing those two things. One was Aqua and one was Corman. And they referred to the fact that both things had already received approval at the March Planning Commission meeting. To my knowledge, there never was a March Planning Commission meeting. I do check. I look at our website every month to see when zoning and planning and yours are going to, well, I know when yours are going to happen. They coincide with mine all the time. The other two, I check and I look, and I have never seen anything actually for either one, zoning board or planning commission, with March agendas. Yet both of those items last month referred to the fact that they received approval at the March Planning Commission meeting. If there was a meeting, I'd like to know why it wasn't ever noted on the website as far as the agendas are concerned. And if there wasn't a meeting, I'd like to know why it was stated that it was approved at the meeting, if there wasn't one. At first, I thought, well, maybe they meant February. So I looked back to February's once again. One of the two items was probably on February's agenda because Corman was mentioned. However, they're both in that, and then last month's agenda for your meeting, they were worded a little differently, but I'm assuming they were the same thing. However, the other one, Aqua, wasn't mentioned in February either. So I don't know. I'd just like to know, was there a March meeting? Wasn't there a March meeting? And if there was, why wasn't it noted? And if there wasn't, why is it used as saying that those two things received approval in that meeting? I don't know if you can answer that on the spot or not, but that's...
We will speak with Mr. Ennis, and we'll get you that information. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, and I know as recently as of this morning, there still doesn't show that there was any March meeting on the website. So if there was, I don't know what happened. All right, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I'm not actually going to bail out, but I have to go back upstairs for another meeting. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, Joe Fitch, 346 Wyoming Avenue. A couple things. Now that our sovereign citizen problem is resolved and the house is up for sale, do we have all of our liens and costs on the property to get reimbursed for what we've spent as a township?
The liens, yeah, the foreclosing bank does have the liens that would be ahead of them, such as the cost to knock down the building and take out the driveway, and for all the costs that were related to the mowing the lawn and those such things. There are other judgments that were DJ court judgments that actually are behind the bank, but those are just from courts, from violations, not any money that was actually expended by the township.
Gotcha.
Those might not get paid off. But the liens of money that are expended by the township will be ahead of the bank and will likely get paid off if it sells at sheriff's sale or if it gets sold to a third party after sheriff's sale.
Okay. I wasn't really going to say anything about this, but since the other gentleman brought it up, the Corman property that we're talking about, I wish you guys would take a look at some other options for them to do something with that property. There's so many different things that can be done besides some type of light industrial, put a campground in there. I mean, I'm sure that would do good. You got Sesame Place up here. People would come in camping for that. You got Philadelphia. They would come in, they could camp, go down to there. A water park, another summer camp for kids. Put a big industrial building up for area schools so they can have indoor football, soccer, baseball, tennis, all kinds of different practices like that. We don't need another eyesore like these storage buildings up here or whatever, the logistic buildings that are just sitting empty. Do something for the township. Make it worthwhile, something for the people. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public non-agenda items for comment?
Good evening, Board. Lance Seggers, Quincy Hollow. I did want to make some comments in regards to the staff coming up here and speaking on their behalf. I do think the township has already felt the losses. I think I've come up here and spoke about Mr. Graham and some of the other staff that we've lost. I think I've already personally have felt affected by that because some of the recreation programs that are no longer happening, which, you know, is not just about citizens being involved in those recreational programs, but that is actually where I got to meet a lot of the great Middletown staff that we have at some of these things like kickball on Friday night or, you know, food truck festivals or different things like that. And most of your staff have presented themselves in a way that Middletown should be proud about. And some of that stuff is not happening because of that decision. Last month I asked, well, what's going to be the cost to Middletown residents, right? And I wasn't really given an answer. I did put a right to know request in, which after some back and forth, and I appreciate Stephanie and Mr. Esposito for getting back to me. That cost in salary alone looks to be around $149,000, $150,000 without even getting into what the benefit cost of paying out Eden for whatever months that we have him on the rolls. That's a lot of money. That's a big financial mistake coming on the back of raising taxes like we did. So I think there's a bunch of people that have talked about getting it right this time. I know Mr. Bruno wanted a timetable on what we do, and for me, I agree. I think we need a township manager. I appreciate Stephanie stepping in, but we need to get it right. I think, hindsight's whatever it is, looking back and looking at all of the different townships that were noted in Mr. Ratliff's hiring. I think when I see people jumping from township to township and employment to employment, that starts to begin a red flag for me right there. So I hope we get it right this time. I think the one thing I will discuss is my experience with some right to know requests. And I don't know how we fix that process. I think I have maybe submitted about 10 of them. I don't like, submitting them because I feel like they're a burden on the staff of Middletown Township. However, sometimes when I'm not feeling like I'm getting the answers I want, I submit those. And I don't necessarily think I'm always getting the answer that I should get when it comes to an open government or a government that wants to be open and wants to provide the information that people are asking for. One example is probably asking, what are we on the hook for? The other example is, and I spoke about it in a previous meeting, is when I asked about the auditing of our fire companies after we bailed out Pendel in that fire truck. I put a right to know request in on audits. I was already aware the MOU said we should have an audit done of every fire company, the 4 fire companies, once a year. So I just asked for the dates, just the dates, not the audit. What dates were these fire companies audited? And my right to know request came back. That record does not exist, as if an audit was never, it never happened. So when I brought it up at a meeting, I remember Mr. Ratliff saying, no, those audits happen. We allowed those independent fire companies to do an audit of their own stuff. So then I go, well, did you lie to me on my right to know request? Or was the township so negligent in their duties that we didn't even get a copy of the audit so that you could respond to my right to know request? And are we doing that on purpose? Are we layering our government in, these layers to where, hey, you keep the audit so I don't have to respond to it for a right to know request? Then I have this layer of like, well, that's William Penn Fire Company or that's Pendel Fire Company, right? I guess to me, that's not a way to run open government, all right? And that's not a way to approach interactions with citizens that are concerned about their community, okay? If what you are doing is above board, then you shouldn't have an issue providing the information. Thank you very much, Board.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Any other public non-agenda comments? I just wanted to say, as a board, we obviously had concerns, and we terminated our township manager. The Board of Supervisors is under legal guidance, and we have decided to take this personnel action. I thank you for your feedback, and I will continue to say that we do make decisions based on the best interest of this township. And if you have requests for right to know, I know that Mr. Esposito and our interim manager is diligently working to support that process. I also wanted to say that we are currently interviewing potential township managers. We are already in that process, and we are dedicated to making sure that we find the right person, the right fit, and that we can continue to provide the services that we have done for this community. And at no time has there been a lack of services. We have, maintained the level and commitment because we have a very dedicated staff, and we value them. And we have excellent department heads, and we value them. So we are in that process, and we are being open with you and sharing with you what we can. And I thank you for your comments and your feedback. Next, we have consent agenda items. Our first is consideration of authorization of payment of May 11th, 2026 bills list in the amount of $2,429,030.96. Next item is consideration of approving the April 13th, 2026 minutes of the public meeting of the Middletown Township Board of Supervisors. Next non-consent agenda item, consideration of approving a memorandum of understanding for the use of a facilities evacuation site for the Bucks IU Unit 22 Samuel Everett School. Consent agenda item D, consideration of approving resolution number 26-15R, authorizing application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Flood Mitigation Program. Agenda item E, consideration of approving resolution number 26-16R, authorizing application to the PA-DCED Watershed Restoration and Protection Program, WRPP. Agenda item F, consideration of approving resolution number 26-17R, authorizing application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program. And the final consent agenda item G, consideration of approving change order number 1 for the Maple Avenue pedestrian signal project in the amount of $25,318. Mr. Kiesler, could you speak to that consent agenda item right there, the change order number 1 for Maple Avenue pedestrian signal project?
I think
Absolutely.
do you know that?
Well, it is the project that's at the signal here on Maple Avenue. The change order is additional fiber connections and work that was basically had to be done to complete the work to improve that signal at Maple and Flowers Mill.
Okay, thank you.
Or at 213, I'm sorry. Yep.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items as noted on the agenda?
So moved.
Are there any questions from the board? Are there any questions from the public?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment regarding item E, which is with regard to resolution 2616R. I just want to note for the record that the EAC has requested that to the extent the grant is awarded, that they be permitted to be involved in that process.
Okay, noted. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Passes 5-0. Next agenda item number 7, consideration of authorizing the execution of a contract with Boyle Construction of the Center Valley, PA for design and construction management services for the Middletown Township Municipal Center roof repair project in the amount not to exceed $138,600. Eric Gartmeyer, will you come forward for this item?
Good evening, Board. So as you were well aware, in the previous years, the roof here has leaked numerous times. We had it patched numerous times. We finally have partial grant for this project, and it was in the 2026 budget to go ahead with the construction of the roof. The roof has been since 2023. We had the company Boyle come out. They were the first ones to actually take a look at the roof. Boyle Construction is a very well-known construction company that administers any construction. That's what their company does. So with looking at the bids, we had 3 bids. Looking at the bids, we decided to go with Boyle Construction for the bid.
I have 2 questions. My first one is this for a full replacement or is just a repair?
So some of the roof is still good. Some of the roof is not good. So when they came out, they looked at everything. We looked at all the spots that were leaking, and then we looked at, okay, what else needs to be replaced? So with doing that, I would say a majority of the roof will be brand new and replaced. It's not completely, though.
Okay, and what is the differential between what we had budgeted for it and because we had 1.1 million budgeted for this, correct?
This is for the management.
This is for the
portion.
management of it,
Yeah,
not the
this is-
actual
Right.
roof replacement.
This is for them to actually administer and be the overseer of the roof and everything. All the bits and pieces that have to go together.
Okay, but we don't have a quote in for the actual roof yet.
Correct.
And does the grant that we received apply to the management, or is that only for the replacement?
That's going to go toward the construction.
Okay.
And the grant is $566,000.
Right.
And is it just because it's such a large project that we need management of it?
In my opinion, yes, you do need somebody else. We'll be back right in the same position we are, kind of.
It's a $1.2 million project. Having a construction manager lead us through the process is going to assure us that we get it right, from the bid package to overseeing the construction and finalizing the project.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the purchase?
I move to award the construction management of the Municipal Center roof replacement to Boyle Construction, Inc. of Center Valley, Pennsylvania, in an amount not to exceed $138,600.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions from the board? Any questions from the public?
Eric Bordeaux, 79 Sweecum. Just a couple quick questions. I don't think I got answered. What guarantees does the 138,000 give us? Does it give us any sort of warranty, or with this, his work will be complete? Has he given any of that information over? I mean, 138,000 is a lot for project management. I get it. It's a $1.1 million roof, but do we have any guarantees for our money?
So Boyle Construction, that's what they do, obviously. They're a well-known, company. Having them as our go-to, if something should not be right, it falls back on them.
Is that in the contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and How many bids did we get for the?
Three bids, yes.
I actually, hi, I actually had a question. What is the timeframe turnaround for the roof? So it's 138,000, that's more than most people make in a year. So what is the timeframe for this particular salary? Like, how long will they be overseeing this project?
I'm not sure.
Looks like about 10 months.
I'm just going to defer to the proposal that's in the packet for everyone. So they're going to start from the pre-construction phase. I'm going to say that pre-construction, and then we have grant management, you have meetings to coordinate, there's cost estimating associated with it, scheduling. Then there has to be the design, bidding, and procurement they're going to oversee. Then the board's going to award a project, and there's going to be construction. During construction, they're going to be overseeing it, doing daily meetings, weekly meetings. They're going to do the inspections, safety, quality control, all of those types of things. And then, all of the final submissions. And, my experience working with a construction manager means you're going to minimize change orders because you're going to have an expert on site. I don't know the answer, but at least 6 months.
6 months. I mean, I don't know what the average cost for something like this is. This is relatively new to me, coming to the board meetings, but I just feel like that's kind of excessive for a 6-month period. I understand that there's multitudes of different steps to be taken, but I just feel like it's a little excessive for a 6-month project.
It's typically it's typically a percentage of the overall cost. So it's actually a very standard proposal based upon the cost.
Okay. Was there other companies before that used to oversee this, and what did that encompass? Like, why are we going to an outside company, whereas we maybe used different companies in the past?
This is the first time the roof is going to be addressed, and the building was constructed 24 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not been addressed. We don't have in-house staff that has this level of expertise to oversee this kind of project. In the long run, although it seems like a lot of money up front, in the long run, it typically will pay for itself in limiting change orders.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, I do have a question. Are any budget cost overruns going to be factored in? You're talking about a $1.2 million project. It's $138,000. It's going to someone to manage this project for 6 months. There's inevitably going to be cost overruns. You don't know once they start peeling back this roof whether any structural members need to be replaced. So are you going to be able to factor that in as well?
Well, this firm did actually do a very detailed assessment of the roof. And their fees are based upon what the board is going to award the fees. They're not going to increase the fees if it takes longer, if there is cost overruns. But having a construction manager involved at the front end of a job like this really does actually help overall to keep it within budget.
I understand that point. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with are the inevitable cost overruns. And in any large project, governmental or otherwise, or even local, you're going to have cost overruns, and you have to factor that in, either 10%, 15% to your overall budget to be on the safe side.
Well, and I think that will happen after it's designed and the bid documents are ready. Before, the board is authorizing a construction manager to lead us through this project. They will have the opportunity to award the actual contract to someone. At that point, we're going to have fresh estimates based upon the current environment rather than maybe 2 years ago, when we applied for the grant that we received the funding for. So the board will have that opportunity, and there typically are contingencies built into the budget at that point.
All right.
And Ms. Teely-Cools, if a resident is interested in that process and when that comes up for bidding, where would they find that information?
I would just tell them to keep an eye on the agendas for when this comes back to the Board of Supervisors.
And that way you know when it comes up and you can be a part of that conversation. Thank you. Okay, any other public comment? Thank you.
Is this the only project getting done? in Bucks County this year? Or there are several?
What type of project?
Wouldn't it be more cost efficient to get a project manager on board? Not board, but in-house?
It's a highly,
I'm in construction, and I find for a 6-month project, that's a high cost. Boyle is a very good construction company. Tearing off a roof, is it security? There's so many different things, but there's other projects going on. So it's 100 and something here, it's 100 and something there. Are we getting project managers for every
no, we
construction?
never use construction managers. This is the first time in 15 years at least.
And what's the building that's getting the roof down? This
building. I mean, you use a construction manager when you get to this size of a project. If we were going to do a new municipal building where there is we receive from funding for a public works building, I'm not going to be here, but I would certainly recommend that you consider a construction manager. I've done municipal building projects in my career. It's day and night different when you have a
They're gonna be working
construction.
with the roofing company from tear off to put on.
Correct. Before, during, after.
And that security of all their materials.
Everything from soup to nuts.
Okay.
Thank you. I think it's different because we don't have people who can do roofing in-house. I know.
It's an enormous, enormous project. This roof is unlike, in the 13 years that I was the manager, there were probably 5 different roofers climbing all over that roof, patching it up here and there. This is the first time it's going to be addressed completely, and it will last, pretty much indefinitely.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions from the board? No? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those who oppose, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. All right. Next, we have consideration of authorizing the purchase of a 2026 F600. Let me go back. Consideration of authorizing the purchase of public works vehicle. The first one, consideration of authorizing the purchase of 2026 HV 507 cab and chassis from Ascendance Truck, Eastern PA. Mr. Gartmeyer, could you just come up for the next couple ones? Thank you. LLC, Swedesboro, New Jersey, in the amount of $120,333, and Galeon Stainless Steel Dump Body from H.A. DeHart and Son, Thoroughfare, New Jersey, in the amount of $125,727.50 for the total of $246,060.50. Could you share some information about this agenda item?
So obviously, Public Works replaces vehicles on an annual basis. We look at the fleet, we see what actually needs to be replaced. Typically, it's 10 to 15-year replacement on most of this stuff. Sometimes we run into things that might be a little newer that need to get replaced, but typically, it's around 15 years. This truck actually, $240,717 is actually coming from RDA, which is the RDA grant that we received for the vehicle. So there is a small balance after that of $5,000 and some change that would come out of the general fund or the road machinery fund. So this is replacing an 06, one of our 06 trucks, this one is.
Okay, thank you. And it's already in the budget, the balance of
Correct. Everything was, all these items were budgeted in the budget for 2026. All of them are CoStar's vendors that we reach out to try to get the best price for the vehicles and that.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'm sorry. Is there a motion to approve the purchase? Say that. Can I put them all three together? Yeah? Okay. Eric, I'm just going to, Mr. Gartmeyer, I'm going to put them all together. Okay. The next one is consideration of authorizing the purchase of a 2026 F600 chassis from Fred Beans Langhorne in the amount of $89,647.13, and one Western Pro Plus plow from Osso Group, Croydon, PA, in the amount of $8,765, and soundbar from SKD Tryon, Croydon, PA, in the amount of $7,881.08, for the total of $106,293.21. I'm going to go to the next one, okay? Consideration of authorizing the purchase of a 2026 F600 chassis from Fred Beans Langhorne, PA, in the amount of $74,126.65, and steel dump body from H.A. DeHart & Son, Thoroughfare, New Jersey, in the amount of $67,818.75, for the total of $141,942.40. Okay, anything you want to say about those two vehicles?
So once again, the last one you just read is a small dump truck, is replacing a truck that needed to be replaced. The body is standard. The truck comes complete with the spreader, the plow. It's ready to go. All our trucks are four-wheel drive for winter, and the body also is a stainless steel body, which we find that we keep longer than a steel body. So that's for that one. The other one is replacing a pickup truck. We are replacing that with a stake body truck, which we don't have. So that's the reason for that one. They're all co-stars. They were all bid out for co-stars, and the bids came back, and this is what we have in front of us.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, I'm going to put these all together. I make a motion to authorize the purchase of a 2027 HV 507 cab and chassis from Ascendance Trucks Eastern PA LLC, Swedesboro, New Jersey, in the amount of $120,333, and the Galleon stainless steel dump body from H.A. DeHart & Son, Thoroughfare, New Jersey, in the amount of $125,727.50, for the total of $246,060.50. I also make a motion for the purchase of the 2026 F600 chassis from Fred Beans Langhorne, PA, in the amount of $89,647.13, and one Western Pro Plus plow from Osco Group, Croydon, PA, in the amount of $8,765, and soundbar from SKD Tryon, Croydon, PA, in the amount of $7,881.08, for a total of $106,293.21. And I also make a motion for the purchase of a 2026 F600 chassis from Fred Beans Langhorne, PA, in the amount of $74,123.65, and steel dump body from H.A. DeHart & Son, Thoroughfare, New Jersey, in the amount of $67,818.75, for a total of $141,942.40. Is there a motion to approve these purchases?
I'll second your motion.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Mr. Fitch?
So Eric, you said B and C are both going to be four-wheel drive?
They all are, except for the big truck. Our big trucks aren't four-wheel drive.
Would it be beneficial for us as a township for truck C to put a plow package on there, not necessarily by the plow, but by the mount and the wiring? Because then if we have a truck that's down, you can switch from truck to truck. I mean, I would hope that we would all be using all Western stuff so we can.
I'm going to defer to Mr. Gartmeyer.
Number C is a small dump truck. So H.A. DeHart furnishes the plow, the spreader.
Okay.
Everything. All our trucks are equipped for winter usage.
Are they all Westerns?
Yes,
Good.
we
All
keep
right.
them all the same.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those who say nay? Okay, and motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda for consideration, authorizing purchase of a 2026 Chevy Blazer EV for the Building and Zoning Department from Bergey's Chevrolet, Colmar, PA, in the amount of $40,164.06. Mr. Gartmeyer, so glad you stayed at the podium.
Seems to be my night now. Helping Jim out and L&I, since I deal with most of the vehicles, Jim came to me, and there was in the budget from last year a vehicle for L&I. One of the vehicles does need to get replaced. So way back, we decided that L&I would have EV vehicles. We have one already. Unfortunately, that model is discontinued. They are coming back with it, but it's in another year or so. So what you have in front of you is fully all EV vehicle. There was a grant that $7,500 went towards that vehicle. The vehicle actually came in under budget. I believe it was budgeted for $45,000. It only came out to $40,100 and some change. So that was under plus the grant. So that's why, talking with Jim, we want to move this forward.
Okay, thank you, Eric. So I want to make a motion for the purchase of the 2026 Chevrolet Blazer EV for the Building and Zoning Department from Bergey's Chevrolet, Colmar, PA, in the amount of $40,164.06.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
I just wanted to let you know that is on CoStars also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Next agenda item, number 10, consideration of authorizing preparation for an agreement of service-connected disability for Officer Ed DeFrank. Ms. Teely-Coles, will you please present this agenda item?
Certainly. So Officer DeFrank was injured back in 2023. We received a request recently from Officer DeFrank and the chief to consider a disability pension. There are 2 IMEs indicating that he is unable to return to work, full duty. He is being covered also by workers' comp. It is a covered injury. It remains a covered injury. Officer DeFrank is currently in the drop. And what that means, the difference between a disability pension that happens before someone reaches retirement age versus someone who's actually, for all intents and purposes, already retired, is there is no impact to the pension plan. So there is an impact to Officer DeFrank in terms of the tax implications, but he has been deemed unable to return to work. The motion that we're requesting is just your go-ahead to actually move forward with the process. We typically work with the labor team, and they will develop an agreement that sets out all of the specifics of the disability pension. So this would come back to you. This is your opportunity to just give us the go-ahead.
Thank you. All righty, so I make a motion to authorize the preparation of the agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those that are in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right. Next agenda item 11, consideration of approving amended contract award of the 2026 Liquid Fuels Road Program to James D. Morrissey, Inc. of Philadelphia, PA, in the amount of $1,614,215.40. Mr. Kiesler, could you present this item?
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Before you this evening, this agenda item, as you can see, is an amended contract award. It was before the board last month. To the board's credit, there were items with the alternates of how many we were looking to have as restriping of roadways that were worth revisiting. And we did just that with staff and took a look through each one of those and which ones quite frankly, did not need to be restriped this year. The original effort was to basically restripe just about every roadway that the township had ownership of, to just give a fresh striping of all that. But with the revisiting, really it's better sense to do the ones that are either fading and deteriorated this year. Obviously, there'll be a plan going forward to address other roads that need restriping in years to come. So the amended award this evening is still to James D. Morrissey. The repaving roadways are still the same as the initial recommendation for the Quincy Hollow neighborhoods. The alternate that is for Harris Avenue, which is really a stormwater improvement project with paving work at the end, that still remains in the award recommendation. The difference is the roadways to be restriped. So of the 14 that were listed, which included one with Langhorne Manor Borough as part of the service road, we've revised that to recommending 5 segments that would be restriped this year. They would be Big Oak Road between Woodbourne and the address 2475 Big Oak, which is about halfway through that roadway. It includes Chickenfoot Road, Fulling Mill Road, Snowball Drive, and Wood Lane. Those were determined to be the ones that do need that this year, and we'd recommend having that as part of the project. The amended recommendation is $104,917.60 less than the earlier recommendation. What we've done in the past as a staff is look at the roads and the ramps kind of as one bulk of the budget to get infrastructure moved ahead. So this would create the road program even further under its budget in the 2026 township budget, and would allow some additional funds to be reallocated, and that's what we'll touch on with the next agenda item. But for the amended award, we recommend this revised amount, which would be $1,606,761.80. Happy to answer any questions.
No, I just want to thank you. I know I pushed this after our last meeting, especially when driving over some of those roads and seeing the good condition that a lot of that striping is in. So I want to thank you, thanks Stephanie, for bringing this back to us to talk about.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry, I need to make a correction to the amount that I said. Okay, let me try this again. I make a motion to amend the contract award of the 2026 Liquid Fuels Road Program to James D. Morrissey, Inc. of Philadelphia, PA, in the amount of $106,761.09. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public?
Is there anybody from the township that is going to go out and inspect them while they're doing the paving? I know Quincy Hollow, it's kind of easy, it's curb to curb, but the other roads that do not have curbs on them, Morrissey just paved 4 streets in Oakleyhurst section, and man, they really colored outside the lines. I mean, there's no straight lines at all. I mean, it's like this in people's yards, and the neighbors are all complaining, and I said, well, it really doesn't have anything to do with the township because the water company is the one, I guess, that gave them that project or awarded that to them. But, you know, if we're paying for it, I mean, I would hope that somebody would make sure that the operator's eyes have been checked and.
We do exactly that. As the Township Engineering Office for the township, we manage the construction phase and have construction inspection throughout. And obviously, each road that they'll be repaving will have folks out there making sure they're doing a good job within the limits and a good product for the township at the end of the day.
Gotcha. I know this gentleman mentioned Dorm Road. Dorm Road's a state road, so we have nothing to do with that.
We can't do anything with it? One right below?
Call the state.
Oh, good luck.
I mean, it's terrible in Pendel. I understand. I drive it every day, but
So do I.
it's a state road.
Thank you. Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, consideration of awarding ADA curb ramp contract to NJS Concrete of Feasterville, Trevose, PA, in the amount of $864,979.01. Mr. Kessler?
Yes,
again?
Madam Chair.
Sorry.
As I mentioned, the roads and the ramps go hand in hand pretty much each year. The ramp program, and the reason we have it separate from the road program, is that we have the neighborhoods identified that we want to complete and reconstruct the ADA curb ramps to meet current standards, obviously to improve the accessibility in these neighborhoods, many of which were constructed decades ago and don't meet current standards. We look to get ahead of where we will look to do paving in the next few years. The liquid fuels money that we utilize as a township requires that ADA compliance is current for when you use that for roadway repaving. So we, not only for that purpose, but also the accessibility for these neighborhoods to do those ramps. As I mentioned, with the money saved or valued under budget from the road program, still able to do what we want to accomplish this year. The ramp program, we have had a base bid plus 5 alternates, and it was relying upon what kind of funding was available. The base bid is for the remaining ramps in Cobalt Ridge. That neighborhood has had some of the ramps done the last few years with some of the smaller grant funding that we've had, but it's kind of just been chipping away at it. So this year's budget does have a more robust ramp program already in it. So we're looking to have, as that base bid, the remaining ramps in Cobalt Ridge. Alternates 1 and 2 are Upper and Lower Orchard neighborhoods. All the ramps included in that neighborhood there, both those neighborhoods rather. Alternates 3 and 4 are ramps associated with PennDOT HOPs. So where our township roads intersect with the PennDOT roads, HOPs, highway occupancy permits, are required to do construction at those intersections. There's 2 ramps that remain in Juniper Hill neighborhood, as well as HOP ramps in Cobalt Ridge. So those are the HOP ones that would complete those 2 neighborhoods as far as the ramp work is concerned. And then alternate number 5, we included to at least get pricing this year, but now with the funds available, we're recommending this be included this year as well. And that is for the entirety of the ramp work in the Ivy Stream neighborhood. One that definitely is in need of it, and a few other improvements to the concrete throughout the neighborhood before that could be repaved, hopefully in a few years' time here. The budget in the 2026 township line item for the ramps is $750,000. As I mentioned, if you combine this and the roads, for the construction budgets, the ADA ramp construction budget's $660,000. The roadway program was $1.84 million. That combined is a total of $2.5 million. With the road program just amended that was awarded, the balance of that total is $954,436.20. So that is the reason we're recommending that for the ramps, we were able to do these additional neighborhoods, really get ahead of it this year. Even with doing the base and all the alternates described in this year's contract, we would still be $89,457.19 below that combined budget. So we're able to reallocate that township money to do more for accessibility, get ahead of the road program, and still be under the total budget for the roads and the ramps this year.
Thank you for that.
And do those totals include all the engineering costs as well, or does that put us over budget?
No, that's included.
That's
So
included.
the engineer, well, the $660,000 is the construction budget for the ramps. $750,000 is total budget for construction and engineering and inspection costs.
Great. And did we put in for a grant for ADA ramps this year or no? I know we've gotten them in the past.
Not for this year. We went after a different project for CDBG funding.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I make a motion to award the base bid and all alternates number 1 through 5 for the 2026 ADA curb ramp program in the amount of $864,979.01 to NJS Concrete.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public or comments? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, next agenda item, consideration of awarding summer recreation bus services bids. Interim Parks and Recreation Director Monica Tierney will handle this item. Thank you, Mrs. Tierney.
Today, I'm here to seek your approval to move forward with the lowest responsible bidder. There were 2 bidders on Penn Bid. Lowest responsible bidder was David Thomas Trailways at $37,076.
Alrighty.
Can you walk me through what happened with Durham?
Sure. Durham did put in a bid, but did not send in all their documentation and paperwork in time for this meeting today, so I had to go with the lowest responsible bidder who did turn in all their paperwork. So it's a $3,000 difference between the 2 bidders.
When do you need to start the bus services?
June 16th.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to make a motion to award the contract for the 2026 Summer Recreation Program bus services to David Thomas Trailways in the amount of $37,076 as the lowest responsible bidder. I have a motion. Can I have a second?
A second.
All right, motion and a second. Any questions from the board? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Mrs. Tierney. Next item on the agenda, consideration of awarding the pedestrian equipment upgrade bid to Armour and Sons of Langhorne, PA in the amount of $297,000. Ms. Teely-Coles?
Thank you. So this project includes the upgrade of the pedestrian crossing equipment at 8 key intersections in the township. It is funded by an ARLI grant. The intersections are Oxford Valley Road and Woodburn Road, New Falls Road and Bristol Oxford Valley, New Falls at the shopping center driveway, New Falls at the Giant Access, Lincoln and Woodburn, and then Woodburn Road at Trenton, at 4th Street Oxford Valley Mall, and at Harmony Road. So these are, again, 8 signals. The improvements are $297,000. We do have a grant that is an ARLI grant. That's the red light camera grant, and that is $229,008. And so the board, if you wanted to move forward with this award, we would need to be taking $67,992 from the capital fund. This wasn't specifically budgeted. However, if you wish to move forward with this, which I would recommend that you do, because you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck in what you're doing, your motion would also be to amend the budget to allow for this.
So we didn't put this in budget specifically?
It's in the budget, but we thought that it was going to be fully funded by the ARLI grant, unless Ms. Hucklebridge has anything. She knows the budget a little bit more than me, since I just showed up a month ago.
It's because it's coming in so much higher than that.
It's just, I mean, the original estimates for this were done like 4 years ago, and a lot has changed in the economy since then.
Okay. If the board concurs, the motion would be, I move to award the pedestrian equipment upgrade bid to Armour and Sons Electric, Inc. of Langhorne, PA in the amount of $297,000.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, just very quickly, I just want to say that I am very appreciative that most of this is covered by a grant. I think that is really great, and I think doing everything we can to make, our community more walkable and more mobile and protect pedestrians, especially with a lot of traffic we have nowadays. I do think this is a really worthwhile thing for us to vote in favor of.
I agree. Those are very busy intersections where they are, so it would be more safe. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Alrighty, up next, we have the presentation of Quarterly 1 Financial Report. Could Finance Director Laura Huckelbridge please present Quarterly 1 2026 for us? Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Okay, we have our first quarter presentation tonight. This covers the months of January through March of 2026. So we'll just go through our overview. Oops, wrong way. Okay. All right, for the first quarter, our expenses exceeded our revenue, but that is the way it's been all these years. That's because most of our revenue comes in April. So the first quarter of the year, we're using fund balance from last year to cover our expenses until we have that increase of revenue in April. This is just a breakdown of our revenue by category. Our property taxes and our local Act 511 taxes are our largest sources of revenue. The local Act 511, that's where the earned income tax is, and we did increase that this year. Through the end of March, we had received $2 million in earned income tax, and we also received another $1 million in April for earned income tax. This just shows you the historic trends for Q1 for the last 3 years. Again, that local Act 511 is our largest source of revenue with the earned income tax. That also includes the real estate transfer tax, and that changes every year. We can't predict that based off of changes in the market and property sales. This is our chart historically. The dotted red line shows you April, since this is Q1, but in April we had a very significant increase. As I said, the earned income tax went up $1 million in April, and the real estate tax, we collected $3 million in April. As we look at expenses, our personnel costs are our largest expenses. They did increase more this year through Q1 than in the prior year. Something I'm doing this year is I'm taking the pension MMO, which is our minimum municipal obligation, which is over $3 million. It's $3.7 million. We would normally recognize that as an expense all in the month of October, and it would make our little chart spike. So I'm expensing that every month, evenly, $308,000 a month, so that we can hopefully identify where there's true peaks in our expenses and help mitigate those and kind of spread them out throughout the year. So again, personnel costs are the highest every quarter. Here's our expense by month. Again, the red dotted line, it takes you through April. What I was speaking about, here we go, the spikes here in the latter quarter of the year, that's all of the MMO. That's almost $4 million just in 1 month. So the red line is higher than all the other years because it includes a portion of that expense every month. So we won't have that huge spike in the end of the year. As we look at the general fund, these trends are very similar to what we just looked at. That was the consolidated, looking at all of the funds. The general fund is our largest fund, so this operates the same way as what we just looked at. So again, the expenses for the general fund exceeded revenue for the first quarter. This is a breakdown of all the different revenue types for just the general fund. Again, the local 511 taxes are one of our largest sources. Public safety includes permitting fees, and we did have a significant increase in building and zoning permitting fees in Q1. Our general fund expenses, we have the tax collection line, which is the second line. That's refunds for tax appeals. And we had a significant number of them for Oxford Valley Mall last year. So that's why the budget number was so high, because we didn't know what was going to happen. But so far we haven't had very many. And again, the employer paid benefits line, that's what includes the MMO. So it's $1.2 million as of Q1 because it includes 3 months of the pension MMO. When we look at our fund balance, At the end of Q1 for the general fund, we were at 2.4 months of expenses, which is below our township policy of 3 months. But we did the tax increases this year to help refund and replenish that fund balance. So as you saw in April, we got $3 million in revenue. So that will go to increase our fund balance going forward. The capital fund, we've only had some spending so far out of the capital fund. We had about $90,000 in computer purchases, $219,000 in police vehicle purchases. Those were covered by the RDA grant for the year. And it's supposed to be ADA ramps, not ASA ramps, of $32,000 for engineering fees. The fund balance, we don't have a lot of grant money as of Q1. We did receive several $100,000. We received, I think it was like $250,000 in April of grant funding for the capital fund, so that will increase our balance there. The investment fund, this is the money held from the water and sewer sale, the basis of $40 million. We had income of $116,000 in Q1 for this fund. We do have a budgeted transfer of $1.3 million from this fund to the capital fund to help cover purchases by the end of the year. Did I do that? This just shows you the portfolio balance for the investment fund. That large dip here at the end of 2024, that's when we withdrew $2.4 million to transfer to the capital fund. We try and do that every other year so that we can rebuild the principal, and our balance is almost where it was right before we did our last withdrawal. Moving on to the pensions. It's been a rough quarter for the pensions, but I think that they held their value. For the police pension, our withdrawals and distributions were greater than the contributions and income for the quarter. So right now at Q1, it was an annual rate of return of negative 0.39%, but looking at the one-year rate of return, it's 10.48%. Very similar story with the non-uniform pension. The fund balance decreased by $564,000 in the first quarter. Rate of return through Q1 was negative 0.5%, but annualized it for the last year, it was 10.77%. Okay, all of that. We had a strong quarter with revenue of $8.4 million, and we expect that significant increase in April that we saw of over $3 million. Expenses of $10.4 million were higher than previous years through Q1. Again, that was because of the pension, including that. The general fund balance decreased in Q1, but we have that additional tax revenue that will increase it going forward. And the stormwater bills were mailed at the end of April. Some people have already started to pay those, so that will bring in more revenue going forward this year as well. And if people had questions about the stormwater credits, they can continue to check our website. We will be updating that information and registration information as well. Do you have any questions? No. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, policy discussions. We will be discussing the chicken ordinance. Mr. Ennis.
Hello again. Chickens. So before I get into my actual report that was in your packets, I do want to do some brief coverage that was a report that was prepared by Ms. Liz Martin that covers the whole community engagement that occurred all of last week for this matter. I think you can also see from the high attendance that this is obviously something that a lot of the community finds of high importance. But yeah, there was a multi-platform community engagement effort that included social media, video content across Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and an interactive poll on Facebook and Instagram. When that was all said and done, the total video reach across the platforms was there was views of 23,476, And a total of comments that were received was 165. As far as the poll results, there was 344 poll views, and that was all within a 24-hour period, from Wednesday of last week into Thursday. 78% are in favor or allowing backyard chickens, and 12% are no, and 10% replied that they needed more information. There were several concerns and recommendations that were consistently mentioned, and when it was all said and done, you know, a lot of the suggestions are reflected into a lot of what I am recommending in my report. But it was a high public engagement, and I think also, as you can see, on the high attendance. And then, so it resulted again in 23,000 video views, 165 public comments, hundreds of poll interactions, and significant resident discussion and feedback. So this has definitely been a matter that has had a lot of outreach and a lot of engagement. Now, actually getting into my report, you know, I briefly covered, the last time this was discussed was during the July 14th, 2025 meeting, so it's been a while. Kind of just give a brief summary of everything that happened there. Now, one thing I do want to point out was there was a mention of a previous study during that meeting in last July. I could not find that previous study. I did find a very lengthy document that was written by a resident, but as far as anything that was raised, it's kind of stuff that we already know at this point, given the fact that this has been a policy discussion probably about 2 or 3 times already within the last couple of years. Now, actually just getting into my recommendations, I kind of provide 2 of those. I provide the more what I call a cautious one, which is kind of in line with what I recommended before. And before we get into the collective groans of anybody from some of my recommendations here, I think everyone needs to understand that right now, chickens are pretty much not allowed in this township. You need a minimum of 10 acres, and you can only have, I believe it's 5 chickens per acre. So right now, it's almost near impossible for any resident to really have any backyard chickens in our residential properties. Excuse me.
I can tell you that from 10 years ago.
I'm sorry, sir, what was that?
I said, oh, it is.
Yeah,
That is the law.
gotcha. Yeah, so again, this is a cautious recommendation that is my initial one. Again, I provide 2 of them. The cautious one is that we only allow them on half-acre properties. That's consistent with the RA1 and the RA2 and the RA3 zoning districts, especially since there's already agriculture in the actual name of that zoning district, so it seems that it would kind of be a good fit. Yes, I do say there does need to be a permit. We will make sure that the permit is very low cost and low cumbersome, and that also that I've already been kind of tossing around with some other staff that maybe some of those funds that are generated through the permitting goes to the community fund for some other measures, especially things that would help the community as far as any kind of pet ownership. Still kind of being discussed and figured out. But with that, again, we emphasize that it's residential backyard chickens for non-commercial purposes. The numbers right now are, I'll be honest with you, kind of arbitrary based off of all the various types of numbers that are allowed in other communities or has been discussed in other communities for other ordinances. No roosters, that is a given. I think almost even the people that are actually proponents of the chickens say no roosters. There would be measures to make sure that everything would be kept in a sanitary fashion. And, you know, there's just some other things that we would do, and that would be all part of the permit process, all to ensure that, you know, the bad actors are kind of vetted, and those that do want to have chickens or good chicken owners just go through a very basic permit process to also avoid further enforcement measures. I will say that when it comes to enforcement, I've only been here about 4.5 years now. In my time here, there's probably been a few that have actually been nuisance issues that needed to be addressed, but I think a lot of the enforcement are people just knowing that people aren't supposed to have chickens and therefore bringing it to our attention, and we really have no other recourse but to do enforcement since they are not allowed right now in the township. We're going to get to the alternative recommendation, which is pretty much the same thing that I already recommended, but now we're talking about smaller properties and a kind of a tiered system where you would be allowed a certain number of hens. At the time of this report, but that's already kind of changing from other research that I found. You would have a minimum of 3 for a lot that can't be any smaller than 7,000 square feet. Now that's consistent with pretty much the higher density residential neighborhood, especially in Levittown. So that would allow for someone with a small property, relatively speaking, in Levittown to have a few hens. Then every 5,000 square feet grows, you get to have an additional chicken or hen, and until you get to a certain point where you're allowed to probably have a lot of hens by that, especially if you have a very, very large property. That really quickly covers everything that I said. I know there's a lot to still dig into, but as far as next steps, depending on what happens tonight, this would then have to, because it is a zoning change, would have to go in front of the Planning Commission. So I do want to stress to everyone around here tonight that you would have another bite at the apple, so to speak, and as far as providing comments. And but it is expected, based off the results of tonight, to go in front of the Planning Commission in June. All with, in an effort to go in front of you again with an actual ordinance for adoption during your August meeting. So with that, any questions?
I don't have any at this time. I'm sure that we have people who are interested in having public comment.
And can I just say, everyone here tonight, I understand this is very important to everybody, but if just for the hour that we're at and everything else, if someone's already said something that you wanted to say, we get it, and I'm not trying to be rude, but please don't repeat it in an effort to try to move this along and maybe have not a very, very, very long night. All right, thank you.
I appreciate you sharing this information. I hope everybody had an opportunity to access the information and report that Mr. Ennis has shared. I know that we were thinking about this a couple of months ago and it was put on the back burner. I'm excited that it's here tonight so that people can be a part of the discussion.
Thanks.
Okay. All righty. Any other questions?
Just a quick question. Is there like, I know this is all still very theoretical, but is there like a plan for like any sort of like routine inspection of where they're being kept to make sure that people are still following like the new?
Yeah, so the permit process, we would ask for those kinds of details, especially when it comes to the coop, the type of coop, how is the feed stored, just overall, just a nice narrative on how they're going to be taking care of their chickens. Now, if we find some areas where maybe we get a nuisance complaint, and this is actually even someone with a permit, even the animal control officer, she's been a big help. We would absolutely try to do some outreach with them and an effort to make sure that they would no longer continue to be a nuisance to their neighbors. And otherwise, it would just kind of be handled, post that, like normal zoning enforcement, where we just say that you're not fully in compliance with all the requirements, and you have to be in compliance, or we're going to have to do some further violation and penalties that could potentially be an appearance in front of the district judge.
Do we have similar guidelines from other townships that have done that?
Yeah, so this is literally a mash of many things that have been found, as actual proponents of this matter that have shown me other ordinance and codes throughout different communities, whether it be in Bucks or Montgomery County. So yeah, we do have some places that we can follow a model of enforcement and everything else. I mean, we're obviously not there yet. I mean, that would be something that would be kind of done in conjunction with actually drafting the ordinance, getting in front of the Planning Commission, and also have all those things really straightened down and buttoned up by the time it goes in front of you for adoption.
Okay, thank you.
Is there like an expected increase in cost for the township to try to enforce codes? I mean, I know that's, again, very theoretical, but.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I like I said, I don't really have any data to support this. It's kind of just what I've noticed. I think a lot of our enforcement is really someone calling on somebody else that has chickens and knowing they're not supposed to. Not necessarily that they're bad actors, and not necessarily that they're actually causing a nuisance issue like rodent harborage and that kind of thing. I think the bad actors are always just going to exist. Right. I think that those are the ones that are probably not going to try to get a permit and everything else, and those are the ones that we're going to have to kind of course correct. which is just a long way of saying that what's probably happening now won't really change as far as really the level of enforcement, and there's also the strain on staff.
Yeah, because I just want to make sure that we're not, one, straining the staff with this, or, and again, I agree that if, we allow this, that there's a permit, it should be something that most families can afford. It shouldn't break the bank.
That's right. I can't stress that well enough. It's not going to be something that's trying to in any way gouge any of the residents for having chickens. We're just trying to make sure that we have some things in place before we allow for them at that particular property.
Gotcha. And I agree completely. And I think part of it too is that as long as we're staying revenue neutral, I just don't want this to become like a detriment to the funding
Right.
of the town.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ennis. Any other questions from the board? No? Okay.
I guess one last thing is that if we are, and this is just my opinion, if we are to adopt something like this, I do think it is only fair that we make it so that, because I'm from Levittown and I know we have smaller plots, but it should be fair that, people in that part of the town have the opportunity to partake in this as well. So I guess, I know we talked about like a tiered system, and from my perspective, I think it's important that we allow those residents to also participate.
Yeah, I think 7,000 feet, that would include most of the.
Yeah, so 7,000 square feet is literally even like, I would say, the smaller properties in like Forsythia and so forth. Like, so that you would definitely, at 7,000, I think, probably cover a great deal of the township, especially R1, R2, and obviously all of the RA zoning districts.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ennis. Thank you for your work on this.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay. Do any members of the public wish to make comment?
Sure. I think it's great. 10 years ago, I did have a flock of chickens at my property. My property is 14,400 square foot. I made sure at my surrounding neighbors that everything was fine because I knew about the, I guess, the way to go about it with the township. And I only had one neighbor who complained that it brought in vermin, which was totally false. Chickens are great. They're omnivores. They'll eat anything. They'll eat mice. I've had a chicken that ate a mouse, and I have it on pics. I had to give up, within a year, I had to give up my chickens. I've regretted that decision every single day. The prior board, I proposed, charge me a permit fee for it. Come out and see how it is. They didn't want to listen to any of that. I found out that I would have had to get a lawyer to actually go before a board or go before a judge to plead hardship that, yes, I wanted the chickens. And it wasn't only for the eggs. It was for the companionship, for the antics, for everything, my son growing up and what have you. I still regret that decision. I'm here tonight to say, yes, I am in favor for it. If you want to do it at every 7,000 square foot, 3 chickens, and then you can add in another chicken or hen to it, I'm all for it. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea. And charging a permit fee gives you money back, allows an inspector to come out and check us out and find out that we're doing everything right. Because there are people here from other parts of the country that have moved here and want chickens as well because they're also very knowledgeable. Okay? If you have any questions about chickens, ask it. I have got 10 years of knowledge from it. That I did my research for 2 years before ordering my chickens. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just state your name, I'm sorry. Please.
Hello, my name is Dr. James Robinson. I had chickens about 9 years ago. Before we got our chickens, we called the township and asked if we were allowed to have them. We were told we were zoned as a residential agriculture, RA, as he was saying, whoever it was RA. We could get them. I spent about $3,000 building my coop and run. Had my chickens for about 9 years. During the pandemic, I look outside and there's some random lady looking over my fence, took a picture of my chickens. 2 days later, some terrible lady from your township was there, pulled my wife out of my house, called her a liar that we had asked permission, made my kids cry in my front yard. I had to come here in front of the zoning hearing board twice to argue. I was called a liar for calling or incompetent for calling the wrong Middletown Township. Anyway, that was my saga with the chickens. I fought you guys, not you, but whoever it was before, and lost. So I do have no chickens now. Having chickens is one of the best things I've ever done. I raised my 3 daughters with the chickens from a time they were probably 4 years old, and now she's 14, so a long time. I loved it. I loved having chickens. I had eggs every day. I knew what my kids were eating. I would like to say also that during the pandemic, there were literally 0 eggs in the giant supermarket. You know, we all kind of forget that now, but there were no eggs, and I had eggs, and I fed my neighbors, I fed my family, I fed people, I gave the eggs away for Easter so people could dye them, and that's when they came, your government came to my house and pulled my wife out and made me get rid of my chickens. When there was no eggs during a global pandemic, it's terrible what they did to me and us. So during the process, I was able to get a hold of somebody from the Penn State Extension who said that they were not agriculture, they were pets. I never had more than about 6 to 8 at a time. For the 8 to 9 years, nobody ever complained until that lady was looking over my fence and ratted me out. So I strongly suggested we get chickens. People want chickens. Everybody wants chickens in this neighborhood, right? It's what we want. Let people have their freedom back. Thank you, everybody. So that's what I have to say about my chickens. It's haunted me ever since I had to go through this previously with the zoning hearing board and, again, being called incompetent or a liar in front of my family and everybody else who came out to support me. So please let us have chickens back. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Jacqueline. I'm in the Gables, and I came out today for the chicken ordinance especially. I understand chickens might not be everybody's cup of tea, and I feel like chickens get an unfair bias against them. You know, they're not cute and cuddly like, you know, dogs and kittens and things, but, you know, they have little personalities, and I just feel like, you know, unfortunately, chickens have gotten a bad rap. I know that people think that they bring rodents and things, but as long as you keep your coop clean. My grandmother, I grew up in Philadelphia. My grandmother lived in Frankfurt Ave. Her backyard was, a tiny little postage stamp, and she had chickens. I grew up with chickens in Frankfurt Ave down in Philadelphia. It was never an issue. I just feel like, you know, chickens, when it comes to the topic of chickens, people just think that they're dirty animals and, you know, it's going to draw in rodents and things, and it's not like that. As long as you have a responsible person taking care of them, I don't think that there will be an issue. They're not as loud as dogs. My neighbor's dogs bark all hours of the day and night. You know, it's not as loud as a dog. If I wanted to, I could have 15 probably rabbits in my backyard, and that's not an issue. So I just don't understand what the issue is with the chickens. And also, people don't understand, like Bucks County, this used to be farmland, you know, and you know, as we've, you know, had population booms and we've added, you know, residents to the area, and zoning has changed. But up until the 50s, like, this was farmland, you know, the best farmland in the country, actually. And now we're, you know, turning everything over to housing, which is limiting, you know, what us residents can do on our own property, which is not fair, you know. And some residents have lived in this area for a long time. I think chickens were allowed up until, 12 years ago, I think it was. And then I guess they changed the zoning for it, and now, you know, it's not allowed. So, you know, I just would like at least consideration. And also, if you do go with the original conservative ordinance, that will, you know, eliminate other people like myself. I would not be able to qualify for that, you know. So, you know, I live in the Gables. I think my property is, 0.23 of an acre, so I wouldn't be able to qualify for that. So I would really like the consideration for it, and, you know, permitting and, you know, coming in for inspections, fine. I understand that, so that's all I had to say.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Jacqueline Williams. I'm at Deepdale East. I guess it will be a future Ford chicken property. So it's one of the big ones. Good evening, members, boards, and of the board and neighbors. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to support the allowance of backyard chickens in our community. For many families, backyard chickens are not about creating large commercial farms in residential neighborhoods. They're about sustainability, responsibility, education, self-sufficiency. Across Pennsylvania and throughout Bucks County, more communities are recognizing that backyard chickens can peacefully exist in residential areas and provide meaningful benefits to families and neighborhoods alike. Chickens provide families with fresh eggs, reduce household food waste. We all know we have limited trash now. And they eat almost anything and encourage healthier, more sustainable living. They also provide valuable educational experiences for children. My daughter, my nieces are here. This is what I'm most interested in: teaching responsibility, animal care, biology, and where food truly comes from. In a time when many people are increasingly disconnected from nature and food production, backyard chickens help reconnect families to both. I attribute much of my personality and my own personal success to the skills I learned caring for animals in Langhorne. I went to a farm nearly daily at the intersection of Woodburn Road and Langhorne Yardley Road. Unfortunately, in 2003, a long time now, that was knocked down and houses were developed there. So it has not been the experience I've been able to share with my own children. At that property, I learned and cared for horses, pigs, emus, ducks, dogs, and sheep. We're just asking for chickens. Chickens can also provide natural pest control. They eat insects such as ticks, which are a growing concern in Pennsylvania due to tick-borne illnesses like Lyme disease. Many homeowners already spend significant time and money trying to reduce tick populations in their yards, often turning to chemical treatments. Chickens can help naturally manage these pests. Chickens has been known to eat over 300 ticks a day. Yes, they eat ticks and then make you eggs. Backyard chickens also support local resilience and food security. During World War II, shortly before my family moved from Philadelphia to Middletown Township, Americans were encouraged by the government to grow victory gardens and raise food at home to help support the nation and reduce strain on the food supply. Families across the country participated proudly, understanding the value of local food production, self-reliance, and community contribution. In many ways, today's interest in backyard chickens reflects those same values of resilience, responsibility, and independence. Over the last several years, many families have become more interested in becoming less dependent on large commercial systems and more involved in local sustainable practices. Raising chickens is one small but meaningful way families can participate in producing some of their own food for more sustainability. The expectations of having 10 acres to support chickens is extremely excessive. It is nearly exclusionatory at all points. Homes in Middletown with over 10 acres are selling for upwards of $3 million. This also is more alignment with the space you need to raise the next Kentucky Derby winner and his whole family versus a chicken who prefers to stay close to their coop. Do you know that chickens put themselves back to bed at night? I understand that concerns are sometimes raised about chickens in residential areas, but responsible animal ownership already exists throughout the community. People are often surprised that chickens are quieter and cleaner than expected. Well-maintained flock has minimum smells far less than a poorly maintained dog yard or trash. Most people who wish to keep chickens simply want opportunities to responsibly care for a small flock as part of their household and lifestyle. In many communities where chickens are permitted, they have become a normal and accepted part of neighborhood life. At the end of the day, it's about residents' reasonable freedom to make a sustainable and choices for their families and homes. Backyard chickens can strengthen connections to nature, food, education, and community while promoting a more self-reliant, environmentally conscious way of living. I respectfully ask the board to consider supporting the allowance of backyard chickens in our community and recognize the many benefits that have to our local families. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to give us to speak. It was actually about 2 years ago that my neighbor, Brittany Jowett, and myself sat at my kitchen table after our chickens weren't allowed anymore and thought, like, we live on West Richardson, and I can throw a baseball to Langhorne Borough. So many of my friends in the borough have chickens, but we are on the little strip of Middletown, that we are Middletown. So we thought, like, how are counties and I guess townships all over starting to allow chickens? What can we do? So my kids were there. I'm a solo mom of 4 kids, ages 13, 11, almost 8 and 5. And they sat and watched us come up with ideas. We started a Facebook group and a petition. And I just feel very blessed that they've gotten to see when you like believe in something. They came to one of the meetings and watched me talk, and it almost gives me chills. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I have one of my Girl Scouts here with me too, that they can see like real government, and when you believe in something and other people believe in it too, the importance of that you don't have to sit back and say, well, this is just the way it is. I had written a bunch of things that I wanted to say tonight, but I don't want to repeat the great things that the speakers have said so far, as well as Mr. Ennis, because all of this is true. I've had my kids be able to raise chickens from chicks, collect the eggs, and have them as pets. As a kindergarten teacher, I just hatched ducks with my class, and there's such a special thing of these animals with kids and adults alike, of like the social emotional aspect of it, besides like knowing where your food comes from, and the bug pest control and all of those things. The woman previous to me had such a great speech, but she was talking about when we had our Facebook page, all of the naysayers, their things were really about the smell, which can be done with clean coops. I mean, there could be waste that smells bad. There's neighbors that might not clean up their dog waste that can smell bad. There's many other things that we can't control as residents for bad smells our neighbors do that have nothing to do with chickens. People have said on our Facebook page, the far and few between, about rodents. But if you're keeping things clean, rodents don't come. It's a matter of how you keep your food and that you're keeping your pens secure. So I feel like any of the complaints that have been given about chickens, it's from those like bad actors, as you say, and it's not really the norm if you're doing it correctly. So I just wanted to thank the board for this journey. It was actually funny, since I am close to Langhorne Borough, they had overturned the ordinance and made a new ordinance to allow chickens. And I said, what did you do? And they said, we got a couple signatures, and we went, and they said, okay, have your chickens. And that's when we said, that doesn't sound that hard. But I realized that Langhorne Borough is a totally different animal and a totally different municipality that is not the size of this. So it's been a cool journey to watch this happen, even though it's not as simple as their journey was. So I just thank you for allowing myself and also my children and kids to see that you can make a change in your community, and even if it doesn't work out, you can say that you tried. So thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like backyard chickens are good because they can eat like food scraps, so you don't have to throw them away. And they also eat ticks, and ticks can give you Lyme disease, and like Lyme disease can be really bad for you. I also feel like backyard chickens are good because they like produce lots of eggs, and in like 1 week they can get like more than 30 eggs, and like that's like a really good food source, and eggs give you lots of protein. And I feel like backyard chickens are just a great pet, because if you have kids, they're really fun. Like chickens are fun to play with, and backyard chickens just really make me happy.
I might just follow that.
Can I just say something real quick? All of you had great speeches, but none of them were as convincing as the last.
So for me, this is actually a full circle situation for me, because it wasn't until 2021 where I stumbled across a zoning board, and I think it was yours, where the zoning board was not kind, we'll put it that way. And that was the progenitor of me starting to come to meetings. Now, I stayed for the fun, I guess. But this coming in, I mean, I even talked to you, Jim. We were trying to put together something back in 22, right? So this is a long time coming. And I want to say that you guys are better prepare yourself if either the planning committee or the zoning committee says no to this. You better be prepared to override them or be able to start firing people off of those committees. This obviously has so much support. And I do not want to see a single person up here say, well, the zoning committee said no, the planning committee said no, their hands are tied. This is something you guys can do. You guys can do it appropriately. If you have to go through your little trance of, oh, it's got to go through planning, go through zoning, et cetera, and then come back here, fine, do it, get it done. You can see everything here. And I mean, come on, that last, you can't make her, no.
Charge me for my chickens. I don't care.
They don't make a little girl cry.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board, and thank you for hearing us out. I do want to state that I grew up in the area. I graduated from Neshaminy. Soon after graduation, I did move out of state to a community that did allow chickens. Coming back, finding out that we weren't allowed to have them was a large disappointment. My wife and I were actually considering about not purchasing a property here in the township and possibly we're still considering purchasing outside where we can have that freedom. Because let's be honest, it is a freedom that we need. With the rising cost of, as everybody said, of food and things like that, to be able to be self-sufficient and maintain things, not only just the eggs, but the fertilizer that chickens produce, the ability to compost the shells and all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of sustainability that we want to be able to have for ourselves. So thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Boyle. I live in Langhorne. I had chickens, and my chickens were taken away because somebody snooped. And I had them for 4 years, and not one neighbor complained. It was somebody who hurt other people here. And what I was going to say is that I live in an area that is a very small neighborhood, but next to me is a business. And that business is dirty, disgusting, poisons the ground, and my chickens were very clean, but I don't see anything happening to that business that's been grandfathered in and is poisoning the ground. So I think we need to treat our citizens fairly and not let businesses get away with things that, you know, when we've got people here who just want to be sustainable and do good things for the environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I would just like to encourage you to take a look at even smaller lots. I'm in a townhouse community. I could buy 2 120-pound dogs and put them in my relatively reasonable sized backyard, but not 2 birds, about 1 foot by 1 foot. So it just doesn't make sense why even smaller townhouse communities wouldn't be allowed to participate in this. I think you would see a lot of adoption. My property is about 4,500 square feet. And it's, you know, our backyard is, we could put 8 birds back there. We got plenty of room. But I can understand if that's not something you guys want to explore, but definitely could accommodate 2 to 3 to 4 birds. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question. My name's Angeline Doherty. I live over on Old Lincoln Highway in Langhorne. So you said that the Planning Commission meeting is in June? And this is going to be discussed there too? What's the date for those of us that don't know? June 8th. At the
June
same
8th is the Planning Commission meeting.
And that's at 7 o'clock too? In this building? And then the next supervisors meeting is in August, and this might be discussed at again?
That's not a given, but that's the target that we're shooting for. It's all dependent on what happens.
So then we should need to be here for the planning commission meeting, right? Okay. I just want to make sure everybody was aware that's going to be June 8th, 7 o'clock here.
I just want to correct.
And by the way,
Fairness, I apologize. The planning commission in June is actually June 3rd.
June 3rd, see, now that's important to know.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so June 3rd at 7 o'clock. And I also had chickens. I have a gorgeous coop that has sat empty for probably about 6 years now. And the arguments against it make no sense. Because for one thing, there's an ordinance on the township that you can't put bird seed out on the ground because it attracts mice. But how many people are going around checking people's bird feeds? Because my neighbor dumps it, she just throws it out there, and nobody's going over there and, attacking her, and she's feeding mice, But, just say yes.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comments?
Just one. I actually have a coop with chickens in Pendel, but it's right across the street from me. So I send my kids across the street to go get the eggs. I'd like to have it in my backyard instead of sending them across the street because it's legal in Pendel for some reason.
I'm glad they're in Pendel right now. Okay. Okay, thank you. All righty. Okay. Yeah, could you just state your name? Come on up again. State your name.
I didn't state my name before.
I know.
Gerald Naperkowski, Langhorne Gables. I will not be able to make it to the Planning Commission. It's a Wednesday, and I happen to work on Wednesdays. I wouldn't get up here until probably 7:30. Where would it wind up in the agenda?
They're posted on the township website.
On the website?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Ennis, could you just quickly just review the Planning Commission meeting process where it
Yes,
is?
sorry, I miswrote on my memo and then misread it too. So it's June 3rd would be the Planning Commission meeting, and dependent on the results of that. Now, that's if an actual recommendation is given during that meeting. I don't see why not, but it could maybe stretch a little bit further in the Planning Commission, maybe even to their July meeting. I don't know. But if a recommendation was given during that June 3rd meeting in front of the Planning Commission, which is a Wednesday at 7 o'clock, I don't know, the agenda's not done yet, so we don't even really know in the order of the agenda items where that will fall. It would be expected to go in front of you guys during your August meeting. And I'm now hesitant to even quote that date since I messed up the Planning Commission date. But I believe that one would be August 10th.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
And
you.
just so the board knows, any change to the zoning ordinance also needs to go in front of the Bucks County Planning Commission as well. So it will go in front of the Bucks County Planning Commission too.
Right.
So first it's our Planning Commission, then the Bucks County Planning
Well,
Commission.
it would
It'll be
go in front.
simultaneous. We'll send it to them next
week.
Yeah. It's a zoning ordinance rewrite, so it absolutely goes in front of the Bucks County Planning Commission for their review as well and comments.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other chicken comments? Okay.
One more chicken comment. My name is Nicole DiDonato. I am in the Gables. We also had chickens. We had them for about 4 years. There was no complaint except for the neighbor behind me had an issue with us because of a dog complaint. Their dog almost bit my child. So once that happened, they turned us in. We haven't had the chickens for about 4 years. Everybody around us didn't have a problem with it. They were all in favor for us to have them. We haven't had them in 4 years. I have that. However, we've been doing homework, finding out Bristol Township, Ben Salem Township, Yardley, Newtown, everywhere else. The bottom line is the chickens were like an emotional support for my son. Okay, he went outside. He was bullied in Hoover. He was beat up 3 times. The district did nothing about it. These chickens were like an emotional support for him. He went outside, he got confidence, he was able to touch them, hold them, love them, read to them. It was more than just a pet. It was more than just chickens and eggs. It was so much more to give back to a child when they're trying to regulate and go through their coping skills. So it was a lot more than just what everybody here is saying. There's a lot more that goes into this, and I think we all are aware of what we're doing to our families, and we wouldn't put our children in jeopardy to just have things ripped away. So we're trying to all do it the right way, and we really want you to take it seriously. But the other question that I have is, what is the time frame in regards to if they were to get approved? I mean, are we looking like another 3 years, another 2 years? Is this possible for August? Like, how can we be part of the decisions moving forward?
Well, first up, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. Like Mr. Ennis said, we have our Planning Commission on June 3rd at 7 o'clock. If we're lucky, there'll be more social media posts with Mr. Ennis and Chickens to inform us about when that's coming up. And then after that, it will go, I guess, before us, after it is approved by the Bucks County Planning Commission. So those things have to happen. Am I promising anything? No, things can happen and come up. The intention is we are having this discussion because we know the community is interested, and we're committed to looking into it and trying to address your needs and your wants. Thank you. Okay, with that, any other business, Mr. Kessler?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a comment from before. There was a March Planning Commission meeting on the 4th, so I know Mr. Post is still here. We're happy to kind of guide him to where that information is.
Okay. Will you speak with him after the meeting? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other business? Supervisor Gallardo? Supervisor Kezick? Supervisor Kane?
Nothing further.
Supervisor Layton?
Just wanted to, hope everyone had a happy Mother's Day on Sunday.
What's the matter? Oh, okay. Mr. Esposito?
Yes, I want to announce that the board did hold executive sessions on April 14th and immediately prior to tonight's meeting to discuss labor and employment matters.
Thank you, Mr. Esposito. Ms. Teely-Cools?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I also wanted to take a moment to recognize somebody in the audience. We have Kevin Clutch, correct? Andrew? Vincent, I'm sorry, Vincent. Last weekend, we were with Vincent, amazing gentleman. He's going for his Eagle Scout. He was working on trails by the Veterans Memorial Park. And I know you've been invited in June to come back to the board meeting, correct? To share with that? All right, thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay. All righty, I don't have anything, meeting adjourned.